quick look at the top 10 of the FIFA World Rankings for what they're worth, and Germany are nowhere to be seen. But rewind a few years and Germany were one of the top teams in the world. They've regularly dominated competitions and have won trophy after trophy. Yet in the last 2 World Cups they've been eliminated in the group stage, which is even more bizarre as the tournament before that they won. And also got knocked out of Euro 2020 by England, which must be even more embarrassing for them. So what has happened to Die Mannschaft? Why is a team who were once serial winners now can't buy a win? Stick around to find out. Firstly, it seems ridiculous even saying this about Germany with their 4 World Cup wins, 3 Euros and Confederations Cup, compared to England's 2 major honours with the World Cup and Le Tournoi. So let's take a look at Germany's current predicament. They're ranked 15th in the world and in September 2023 sacked a manager for the first time in their history when they said Auf Wiedersehen to Hansi Flick after a 4-1 loss to Japan, their second loss to them in 10 months. This was Germany's 3rd loss in a row and something had to change. In came Rudi Völler for 1 match, but more on that later, and got an impressive win against France, but it might just be papering over the cracks in the side. Those cracks are only evident because of how dominant Germany have been internationally over the course of 7 decades. Even with their 8 tournament wins, 9 if they count the other half of Germany winning the Olympics, they've still finished runners-up in another 7 major tournaments. When a team no longer shows its dominance like this, it's easier to notice. So let's take it all back to when it first started, 1954. Elvis may have released his first single in 54, but there was a new king in town as Germany won the World Cup against a solid Hungary team, the same team that thrashed them 8-3 in the group. The semi-professional German team found themselves 2-0 down in the final against a mighty Hungary team boasting some of the best players in the world at that time and who hadn't lost a match for 5 years. It's also worth noting that if the tournament was played under the current World Cup format, Germany wouldn't have even gone out the group, going out on goal difference. There was going to be no other outcome. It was going to be a mauling, a destruction. But the German team had other ideas. The German people needed hope as they were still rebuilding their country after the war, and that German team provided it. Despite going down 2-0 in the final to their superior opponents, Germany came back to win 3-2 and in the process win their first World Cup. A miracle, some called it. A film was even made about it, whatever that means. And so the birth of the Germany team, who just seemed to up their game for major tournaments. Barely a tournament went by in the decades that followed where Germany weren't among the winners or even the finalists, culminated in the Euro 96 win at Wembley, just to rub it in by the way. Fast forward to the year 2000 and England and Germany are drawn together in the same World Cup qualification group, with only 1 automatic spot for a place in the tournament. And to really rub it in, Germany beat England 1-0 in the last match at the old Wembley. The England party was well and truly spoiled. Then in September 2001, a huge match in the group and a massive 5-1 win. But that's enough of the Finland-Greece game. Just 4 days before that, England travelled to Germany for a huge match. Germany were top of the group before the match and a win would confirm their place in the World Cup, leaving England to fight for a spot through the playoffs. Germany hadn't lost at the stadium for 28 years and had only lost a single qualification game full stop in 60 years. And even then had already qualified, so that loss to Portugal in 85 didn't matter. The Germany team was so confident of winning the group that they'd already arranged friendly matches on the date of the playoffs. But as Germany had found out to their benefit nearly 50 years earlier against Hungary, don't write off the underdogs. England spanked Germany 5-1 in their own backyard with some excellent linker-up play. It wasn't even closer. Now all of a sudden Germany were forced to fight for their World Cup life through the playoffs. Germany had really dropped to Ballack. Oh man, what complete and utter misfortune. It was the second heaviest home defeat in their history, and it was so shocking that manager Rudi Völler's dad had a heart attack during the match and he rushed to be by his bedside. But they eventually qualified after a tricky tie against Ukraine and even made it to the final after a relatively favourable draw, it has to be said, but change was needed. And that spanking at the hands of England, along with the poor Euros the year before, caused Germany to completely reform their game from the ground up. The result of this was more focus on youth work. There was a campaign to promote new upcoming talent. Kids were scouted all over the country and Bundesliga clubs had to run academy centres. There are over 50 of these centres across Deutschland now, and many of the 2014 World Cup winners were part of those centres, but more on those shortly. After a poor Euros in 2004, which let's be honest was a weird Euros anyway, the results of their youth work started to show. They hosted the World Cup in 2006 and this football obsessed country was optimistic. To a degree, in 2005 Apollo German people showed that 45% thought Germany would win the World Cup. The next year this result dropped to 18%. Confidence in the team was at an all-time low going into the tournament, not helped by losses to Turkey, Slovakia and a 4-1 demolition by Italy. And so into the World Cup 2006. The World Cup of Josip Simunic getting 3 yellow cards. The World Cup of 17-year-old Theo Walcott being in the England squad for some reason, but not playing a single minute, and the World Cup of Materazzi viciously attacking Zidane's head, and the tournament of this German side which was unlike any other before it. Jurgen Klinsmann was a rookie coach with unconventional methods around fitness and mental prep, but he won the support of the nation by diving in with a refreshing attacking game mixed with their traditional qualities, hard work and determination. They only lost to Italy in the semi-finals with 2 goals in the last 2 minutes, in a match made harder with the loss of Torsten Frings, who was suspended after TV cameras caught him punching Julio Cruz after their shootout win against Argentina. Frings was one of their most important players, working hard in centre midfield to snuff out any danger. So it's quite amusing, to me at least, that the footage of him punching Cruz was found by, and therefore sent to FIFA by, Sky Italia. Lol. Germany won the 3rd place playoff, and Klinsmann acknowledged we played fast-paced attacking football. It's been a huge success. We showed a new German face to the world. And Mr. Klinsmann was right. Germany went further in the tournament than anyone could have imagined, and along the way silenced some doubters and even made friends. They combined traditional graft and determination with a refreshing attacking mentality. They finished the tournament as top scorers, as did Klose, with 5 goals. In the 3 tournaments that followed running up to the 2014 World Cup, Germany never finished lower than the semi-finals, with a crop of youngsters coming through, and so on to the 2014 World Cup. By this point their youth system had worked wonders. There were experienced players throughout the spine of the team, along with emerging young talents such as Goetze, Kroos, Müller and Schürrle, while Hummels and Ozil were both still only 25. This is undoubtedly their golden generation. They also had a new manager in Jogi Löw, who took over after Klinsmann, from a man who had won the World Cup and Euros as a player to a man who had never won a cap for his national team. Make no mistake, this was a much harder run to the final than in 2002, playing against teams such as France, Brazil and Portugal. So it's quite funny that the match they struggled most in was their extra time win over Algeria. They won 6 out of the 7 matches, only joining with Ghana in the group, and bizarrely bulldozed Brazil in a brilliant brave and bold battering in Belo Horizonte to become the first, and so far only, European team to win a World Cup in the Americas. German football was on the rise, wasn't it? The World Cup win just masked recent problems in other areas. Around this time, Bayern were just beginning their destruction of the Bundesliga, and it's no coincidence that Pep Guardiola joined Bayern in 2013. Bayern and Pep have had an undoubted impact on the team in recent years, more than you believe, and not necessarily a good one. When one team wins 11 titles in a row, it's bound to have an impact on the national team. The winning DNA belongs to them, and they hoover up all the talents from the other clubs, and the league's no longer competitive. A competitive league leads to strong coaching, better academies, promoting a healthy culture. It's also suggested that Bayern players have a toxic influence on the national team. That's up for debate, as there were 7 Bayern players in the 2022 World Cup squad, compared with 5 from Kaiserslautern in their 1954 winning team, so draw your own conclusions there, although Flick and Löw did tend to pick players they liked, which upset the team dynamics. And favoured players become scapegoats. Oliver Bierhoff was always considered the favourite of coaches Bertie Vogts and Eric Ribbeck, and as a result he took the blame for Germany's failures in 98 and 2000, conveniently forgetting that he literally won them the Euros in 96, and scapegoats upset team dynamics. And now Bayern also look outside the league for their talents, which is a little unusual for them. At certain points in their careers, players such as Klinsmann, Klose, Müller and Rummenigge all played for Bayern, and that's just the strikers, without looking at other top Bayern players such as Matthäus. These days Bayern are just as inclined to look abroad for their options, resulting in strikers such as Harry Kane and Lewandowski, where it's no coincidence he joined in 2014. Suddenly Bayern, who were used to having top German strikers, were now looking elsewhere for their players. So what's happened since? Germany won the last ever Confederations Cup in 2017, but that's not traditionally a tournament to check its standing in the world game, with the average ranking of Germany's opponents being 21st in the world, so Germany went into the 2018 World Cup with a little optimism. So how did that pan out? Germany were knocked out of the World Cup in the group stage for the first time ever, and probably doesn't help when your keeper thinks he's a left winger, but we'll come back to 2018 shortly. Well, I mean talking about it, I don't mean actually go back to 2018, I don't have a time machine or anything. As a result, Germany went from ranked first in the world before the tournament to 15th in the world after it. It's a decline that they've never really recovered from. Optimism and expectations were low going into the 2020 Euros, or was that the 2021 Euros? Whichever. Germany matched those low expectations by losing their opening match at the Euros for the very first time, and needed a late equaliser by Leon Goretzka in the last group match against Hungary to even seal their progression. And unfortunately in the knockout rounds, Germany weren't hungry for more either, as a more efficient England team sent them packing in the first win over Germany in a knockout match since, you guessed it, 1966. But surely Germany can make amends at the 2022 World Cup, right? Germany eliminated in the group stage for the second World Cup in a row. Absolutely unthinkable. Impossible even. It was a real low point for Yogi as he left the team after 15 years. So how did this happen? Well, in 2018 and 2022, Germany dominated pretty much every game but couldn't score the goals. For example, in their losses to Mexico and Korea in 2018, Germany had a combined 54 shots and dominated the possession, but lost both without scoring a goal. Japan were also deemed to be lucky with a freak late show in 2022, with some clearly forgetting that Germany needed 2 even later goals against Costa Rica to beat them. Clearly there are issues with taking chances, and there's a good reason for that. Rewind a few years and Germany had Müller, Voller, Klinsmann. Now they were turning to players who were not natural strikers such as Havertz and Werner, both of who struggled to finish their dinner at times. But this is not a new phenomenon. In the run-up to 2002, Bierhoff was fading fast. Janka hadn't scored for Bayern yet that season and averaged roughly a goal every 4 games. Oliver Nerval was more of a right-wing assister than a finisher. Miroslav Klose scored a hat-trick against Israel before the tournament but lacked international experience. And 33-year-old Martin Max was awarded his first cap in match against Argentina 2 months before the tournament and went on to win precisely no more caps. They turned to Miroslav Klose and the gamble paid off. The reality is that Germany haven't had a top-class striker for a while. They have never come closer to replacing Klose. Or other players, and this leads to my problem with Jogi Löw. He's perhaps secretly one of the luckiest coaches in the world. Let me explain. In 12 years as a club team manager, Löw won 3 trophies, 2 of which were in Austria, and all of a sudden he's found himself thrust into an international manager position. Jogi inherited an excellent team from Jurgen Klinsmann with the systems already in place to reform youth teams around Germany. And over the years he failed to replace ageing stars as they retired. Jogi had made a boo-boo. A balls up. And it's not only the players that failed them either, but also the system. Germany tried to copy Pep's chicken tikka-taka style when he joined Bayern. A few years later they tried to copy France's style. They abandoned their own style, their own identity. As a result, there were now issues with how the next generation trained. When they tried to copy Spain, the skill sets needed for that style ended up training most technically gifted attacking mids and nothing else. Large, physically strong, hard-working players, what Germany have always had, fell through the cracks. Except for Goretzka. He's a beast. Hansi Flick took over after this low point. Sorry, I'll stop now, it's just too easy. And carried on making the same mistakes as Jogi did. He also failed to replace the core of that successful squad, including up front and in defence where they were lacking most. He experimented with various fullbacks, not always successfully. The centre-backs were often inconsistent and he changed the shape a few times using formation and tactics not used in the Bundesliga. Could it also be that Germany's famous 50+1 rule is also an hindrance? The rule is designed to keep the integrity of German football as the club have the majority vote rather than investors. This could deter investors from, well, investing in the league, as they'd never have a majority vote in a club. You can make that argument either way. It also hasn't helped the top dogs in Germany with 2 tax scandals in the decade after the World Cup win, but that's a story for another day. And that brings us to today. Some German fans find the current team unlikable, even more so after Armbandgate in 2022, and the style of play is just unrecognisable. The team lacks mentality and attitude. Michael Ballack once said that the team doesn't need leaders on the pitch, but you do to win major tournaments. There are no more leaders like before, and they've been lacking top players with football intelligence. Musiala is the only real direct player ready to make a difference. The rest are pass. Niklas Füllkrug has to be commended for his goal so far, but he's just a stopgap. But this year, the youth sporting director Hans Wolf have changed the setup of the youth system to address these issues. His actions include focusing on a lot of short, small-sided games so that more kids get increased time with the ball, shots on goal, and one-on-one duels in crucial areas for every kid. In theory, Germany will have a bigger pool of top talents in the next 5 to 10 years. Germany have never had the best players but always had the best team. His goal is to get Germany back to that level again. It's hoped that this change will shake Germany out their win-now mode, where they failed to develop a long-term strategy. Their new main centre cost 200 million Deutschmarks or euros or whatever, and at least Germany now have a plan. That plan now includes the world's most expensive manager, Julian Nagelsmann, who took over from caretaker manager Rudi Völler after less than 4 weeks in charge. And it'll be interesting to see how he does. In recent decades, Germany have done best when managed by ex-players who've been there, done that, bringing that winning mentality from a player perspective. Löw is a freak exception after inheriting a team built by somebody else, while Nagelsmann never played a professional match in his career and retired at 20 through injury. Whilst we've always seen Germany as one of the teams to beat, it's also easy to forget that 6 of those 8 major tournament wins came in or before the 90s. Their golden years were the 70s, 80s and 90s. It wouldn't be too unfair to say that they've been on decline for a while, we just haven't noticed it. Gary Lineker once said, "Football is a simple game. 22 men chase a ball for 90 minutes and at the end the Germans always win." And he was right, but he said this in 1990. But countries have cycles. Remember France in 2010? Italy after their 2006 win? I fully expect our distant cousins from across the North Sea will come good again at some point and get back to their winning ways. And it's not all doom and gloom. They have talented young players coming up such as Nelson Viper, Florian Wirtz, Karim Adeyemi, Youssoufa Makoko, Felix Mecha and Jamal Musiala, who is almost on Benningham's level. Almost. They're hosting the Euros in 2024 and will no doubt do well at home, as they always have, except for 2001. They didn't do too well at home that year. I hope that helps to explain the situation in Deutschland a little. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed it, then consider giving it a thumbs up, or even better, toast and frings that subscribe button. Or not, I can't tell you what to do, like. But above all, thanks for watching and have a magnificent day.